Hey guys, before we start, a quick shout out to Alpha Dog Nutrition for sponsoring this podcast. Alpha Dog products are now available at dusupply.com, and you can use code ALPHADOG15 at checkout for 15% off and a credit for free shipping to try it yourself. Now let's get you to your podcast.
We are back with another episode of Free Casting, where we're going to talk about some dog breeds, some bear hunting, moonshine, how we got into the hounds, and the usual rabbit holing. Also, we'll be headed to the Arizona Bighorn Sheep Society Ram Recognition Banquet on Saturday, September 28th, to rub some elbows with that other side. We're going to want to thank Red Cabin Outfitters for purchasing a table so Houndsmen can get recognized. Hope you enjoy the episode. If you have any questions, you have any ideas for the show, give me an email. anecdoteofahoundsman@outlook.com. Jared. Whoa.
What up?
I got to make shit. I don't have a green screen this time. I'm back down in the valley and I took everything home. Rowdy was on and then he disappeared.
Oh, darn it, Rowdy.
Darn it, Rowdy. We see who we got on. Robert Chase. He's here from Colorado. We got Missy Fix as usual. We got rain, so I'm out running a couple dogs. Love the rain. You can't complain about rain.
I can. I hate the rain.
Oh, love the rain. Hello from NorCal, so North California, Mike Rich. Daryl. Daryl Wiggins here from Northeast Oklahoma. Jeremiah Flaw. Howdy, folks. Last show before I'm in the wilderness for a few weeks. Well, that's why these are recorded. Come back and watch them all.
Yep.
Jared, what have you been doing? Trying to hunt the heat.
Mad at you, just festering about how mad I am at you.
Is this about the out-of-state guide hunting still?
No, it's about you saying I don't buy puppies or I don't raise puppies.
Yeah, the other night I said, one of those people like Jared who don't raise puppies, and he sent me a picture. Well, I don't know if they're real dogs. They're just some black and tans.
Hey, I sent you some blue ticks and I sent you some red ticks, Walker puppies.
Jared's mad at me, Rowdy.
Yep.
Oh,
crap.
What does he think you did to him this time?
He said I don't raise pups. I just buy started and finished dogs.
Oh.
And I was like, you son of a gun.
I got to send out some.
Now, I don't breed my own dogs.
I got it done.
I keep them intact just in case, but I usually never have. If I haven't had a litter of pups now in probably 4 years.
It's a lot of work and it's a pain in the butt. I don't blame you.
It is a lot of work.
And I get the litter I got now. I get from a guy out here, my black and tans, and then I still got my Walker male that goes back to my bone dog, and there's a couple females I'd like to lock him up with whenever I get back into Nevada. But I'm just gonna send my mail. I'm just gonna go send my mail up there, and we'll lock them in a horse trailer together, and I'll take my mail back home with me, and I'll wait 64 days. Actually, longer than that. 64 days plus 6 weeks.
That's cheating. Now you know why I talk crap about you.
I hate dealing with puppies. I despise it.
I almost forgot to send Brett a link.
Oh shoot!
I'm saving Brett. I'm saving Brett from having to work though.
There you go.
He has to go fix dog kennels.
I already fixed them. I went. All I do is go down to. There's a rock quarry just about 3 miles down the road here. I just take my buggy down there and fill up the rocks and go. I'm in a sand pit, so I have to fill up the holes with rocks. And typically, I take cement and pour cement in there and just wet it, and it sets up. But I got a dog that she's a damn gopher.
Yeah, tell us that story about that. Tell the story about that dog.
Well, not only does she lets other dogs out. She goes and she gets out, and then she lets other dogs out. I got a call this morning at 6:30. Said, "Hey, do you have a red and white hound-looking dog?" And I said, well, "Yeah, how'd you get my number?" "Well, it was on his collar." "Oh, well, that's my dog." And so I took off over there, took her back, and I had 2 other dogs missing. And then so I went and found Al, and I never could find Suki. No, I found Suki. She was the one. And then Iris, I looked and looked and looked for. she was back in her pen. Not only does she dig out, but before she knows she's not supposed to, because I disciplined her before for that, she'll go get back in her pen. She is exceptionally smart.
I like that.
I got a red tick male that he's a gopher. He'll dig like you wouldn't believe. And finally, I got so mad at him digging holes, I put a 25-pound weight I found in the desert in his hole.
If I showed you how far this dog dug to get out, you would absolutely at least 7 feet. I mean,
oh man,
it's amazing, because I got wire down on the bottom too. Well,
yeah,
I got wire that goes along the panels and comes in about 3 foot on each side. But she can start way over here and tunnel down and go across and then pop up outside.
My red tick male pulled that 25-pound weight out of the hole he dug after I buried it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I was taking firewood logs. I was taking rocks. Just anything I could find. I'd stuffing it down those holes. And then finally, what I did is I just poured a cement slab because I got tired of it.
That's what I had in Cavallo when I was at my other place up there. Well, and when I was on the mountain, I never worried about it. I mean, it was almost all rock anyway. And if they did get out, they didn't go anywhere. I mean, I could hear them barking or trailing, trashing up the side of the mountain. But
on the cement slabs, did they get weird wear marks on their elbows and their chest real bad?
Not yet. No, I have some rubber stall mats for them to lay on, and some of them use them, some of them don't. But they're not. It's pretty smooth top, so they're not getting.
Because I've seen guys, I'm not going to call them houndsmen, but I've seen guys that would have really nice setups and their kennels are all set up. But shoot, their one dog lays on their one side all the time and half their elbows just bare and black skin.
Huh.
I have that problem. I have that problem in barrels where their butt bone,
their hips,
if they run out, especially my bigger dogs, but because they drag that shit out all the time, drives me crazy. No matter what you do to keep that straw or to keep Bermuda's been my favorite. If you get some good Bermuda grass hay, that seems to stay in there. I think it nests up. But I use
those cedar shavings, but they don't.
They stick to them and they in and out, especially with a chain. But even not a chain, my dad has kennels and he puts that in there and they just drag it out, sticks to them or whatever, And I've took old couch cushions and put them in there, and it helps. I have 2x2 dog houses. They're 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot tall, and you get a good couch cushion and put it in there. They usually won't. Your puppies will chew it up, but usually they won't chew it up, and that seems to help out.
Mine are chewing sons of guns. I got those nice Rubbermaid feed buckets, 5-gallon buckets. I got those and 25-gallon pails, and they grab them and chew them up and tear them apart. And I got some that are less than a year old now, and they only hold about that much water.
That's how I know when my
hounds are terrible. I mean, when I built these kennels, when I was at Cavallo, I had concrete and I had drains and I had a septic and everything. I could wash them out in here. I didn't do any of that. But I mean, I put these. I got a whole bunch of old telephone poles and I cut them and I took those with those metal feed dishes and I nailed them to the top of them and then wired them to the fence and cut a little hole so I didn't have to get in the pen to feed every one. I just go down through there and feed them. I don't think any of them are standing anymore. They've tore them all down. And then, of course, all the male dogs pee in their dish.
You're just crapping it.
They don't. Exactly. And it's something that bothers us. They don't care.
They don't. Yeah. Every time I spray their pins out, I try to rinse out their bowls, keep them clean, spray out their water buckets, keep algae out. But they just pee in it and crap on it, and they don't care.
I think the algae is good for them.
Might be.
You think so?
That's what I'm going. That's what I'm going with. That way, I don't have to worry about cleaning it.
I don't bleach it or nothing. Up there at 6,000 feet, it's not that bad. It has to take a while to get algae, and so I'll just take and spray it out. Down here in the valley, it's kind of crazy because I moved all my dogs, and I have 55-gallon barrels of water cut in half, and I put 2 dogs on it. Here's the real hero of the show.
Oh,
hey, how come? Hey, Brett.
Gosh.
Hey, Brett. Brett, why is he coming on my show, not yours?
I told him he misses my show one more time and he's fired.
I think he was in a recliner.
I told him as long as he doesn't dock my wages, because then I'd owe him.
Don't fire him. He'll claim workman's comp.
No kidding.
So, but when I take the dogs off, though, take them home, if I leave water in those, holy crap, they mold quick. They green up quick without them dogs maybe stirring it around. And my hounds, my dad hounds, they're down here and they lay in those buckets. They'll crawl in those buckets. My labs, I brought my labs down so I could do some bird hunting while I'm down in Phoenix. Same thing. They'll get in those buckets. They're
Your
just
dog
brown.
poor, Chris.
Yeah. I love my labs though. We got a chocolate black and a yellow. It's kind of cool. Dove season, we had them all running around and they all listen really good. I wish hounds had the intelligence of a Labrador, and I've always wanted to breed a Labrador to a hound.
I think
to meticularize their nose and maybe get better manners.
You're misreading the intelligence. I think hounds are intelligent. They're just not as biddable as a Labrador.
I think they're ADHD intelligent. They got
yeah.
Go. You got to have them busy. But I have a lab.
They also do things for themselves. Like hounds will, they'll do stuff for themselves. They'll do what makes them feel happy.
You can leave a hound out in the woods. I've known people who's lost dogs for weeks.
Yeah.
Weeks. Yeah. And they get a call from 200 miles away. The guy says, "Hey, I got a dog here. You wrote him off as dead because and they said, I got your dog here. Where at? Running around." I think hounds are more self-sufficient than a lot of these domestic. I don't really consider a hound a domestic dog. Like a Labrador who gets to mine don't come in the house, but that's only because I haven't set up my backyard for him. Well, I don't like putting
a lab's whole mentality. I used to train waterfowl dogs for a long time, and I had some damn waterfowl. Like I had a black lab with over 1,500 retrieves in his life before he was 6 years old. And labs will do anything to make you happy and have and to put a smile on your face. A hound will not.
Yeah, until they come in the house. Knock everything over their tail.
I think that line of hounds that I got from Benny coming out of Jazz, they're pretty smart and biddable. Jazz is the grandmother. This one I'm telling you lets the other dogs out and gets back in her pen. And Jazz is the one where I could have the pen latched and tell her to go get in, and she would run down the alley, go to her pen, pop the latch, and get in the pen.
Oh wow!
I got a video. I got a video of it, of her doing it. So I'm sure that now I got some male dogs out there that are just, you tell them go get in their pen, they go stand on the outside of the kennel out there and just look at you like, okay, boss, where's my pen? Show me where my pen is. Again, for the 500th time.
Feral traits. I like that.
I get dogs that get off and like they'll go out and they'll run in some state land behind me, but they usually stick pretty close.
Chris, if you lose a dog in the woods, someone calls you from 200 miles away.
Nah, it wasn't my dog. But you're right. They stole it. Didn't do nothing for him. They called the owner and said, "Come get your dog back."
Is there a reward?
Depends on how skinny he was when you get him back.
Yep.
If he's fatter than you left him, then it's a pretty good possibility. A guy here in Colorado lost a hound 28 days, found it still hunting.
Wow.
Is that a made dog?
I was always amazed at it, and it's just me. It was just a funny feeling where, you lose a dog for a couple of days and you go back, and I'd ride back into that area, up that canyon or up around in those trails trying to find the dog, and you're riding along, and I have 4 or 5 other dogs with me. And then all of a sudden you look down, that dog you lost is with the other dog, just walking along. And some reason, I guess, because we're humans, we want them to show up and say, "Hey, I'm back," or whatever. They don't care. They just fall right in with the other dogs and keep going. I'm still looking there with the other dogs.
I think that's it. I think you're so worried about having to do extra work for your dog. that you kind of keep them close because you don't want to have to. But I've done it where I said, you know what, I'm just going to let them go, and they don't go. They go out, they come, they just kind of, I've only had that last video I posted. I had a dog, and it drives me crazy. And it's those dogs that they'll go out and then they'll trail back to where you drop them off. I don't mind that. It's when they don't trail back and follow you. Drives me. And he's a good tree dog. He goes, but he did that one time so far. So I don't know.
Sometimes. And I've used the old technique of, throwing your coat down, and I've done that several times. And come back and found and some dog food, and come back and found the dog laying right there on the coat.
I've done that a bunch with my old hog dogs, but with my hounds, I usually find them 10, 20 miles away.
No kidding.
I'll tell you a story about that. Me and Cody Lynn, we lost some dogs. I don't usually lose dogs. They usually jump in. We lost Jared and got Jeremy. Jeremy, you got to grow your beard back, damn it.
Hey, we upgraded.
Okay. I need you to go to Snapchat and put a beard filter on.
I've got one on my Snapchat filter.
Yeah, you look like a big old baby. I liked the beard before. Big old baby
some
face
of
there.
Come back where there's, jobs with
requirements.
You know what? Instead of putting a beard on Snapchat, get one of those filters that makes your eyeballs crooked.
Isn't that Louisiana people in general?
Well,
that's one from South Louisiana.
Look at us. All of us have some kind of facial hair. So
I did.
Yeah, I was gonna make
2 weeks ago.
I was gonna make fun of Scott the other day because he had a little bit of a shadow. The guy from England.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna make fun of him being that's the only beard he can grow in England, I guess. But so we're hunting, lose a dog, and they usually show back up. Even when they go way out on the res, they'll come back. My dogs usually come back. And that's a great thing about Garmin. When I first got my Garmin, when you first get it, you stare at it. And I watched those dogs back trail, and I learned so much watching that Garmin on those dogs. But me and Cody Lynn, I went back. We looked midnight. I said, we'll just sleep here. We did. We parked right there. I threw a sweater out. I had a sweater out and dog food. And if they ate dog food, it probably woke me up chewing. Nothing. Next morning, I think we head back camp. I get a phone call from a Houndsman guy. No, hey, I got your dogs. I picked them up last night. I'm like, God dang it. But to be fair, they were on the res. The guy lived on the res. So I was glad they were safe. But sometimes you're just like, man, let them go.
We used to chase that. Of course, Benny probably remembers that. We used to chase that beep all the time. That was terrible. I mean, especially up there. I was running bears up there in that wilderness. There's no roads. Everywhere you went was on a mule, and you couldn't go very many places. I mean, there's a lot of places you just couldn't go. You'd have to work your way around, go here and there, and chase that beep up those big old canyons, and it was terrible.
When it ricocheted, it was even worse.
Well, yeah, that's what you follow that beep, and you're going up that canyon, and you get it top out, and then you go, it's not this way. Oh hell, it's back! It's coming back from where I was.
Well, Casey and I had that Garmin bouncing back and forth off of mountains while we were out.
I've never had a Garmin do that.
I've heard about them doing that, but it's GPS. So I wonder if the signal's bouncing and shooting it up, or if they're under an overhang and it's not going straight up. So
then you just lose signal.
The dogs were straight down from us, and it was showing them behind us where we just came from. And if we hadn't heard them, we wouldn't know where to go.
I bet it was Starlink.
Yeah, probably.
Elon.
Could be.
I did have some good news today.
Tell us.
A little handicapped kid got my dog getter today, or last night. Excuse me. 11-foot 4-inch alligator.
Oh shoot!
Oh,
gosh,
cool.
dang. Did it get killed?
Yeah, the little handicapped kid put a tag on it last night.
Oh, great!
So we don't have to worry about that one anymore.
Are those alligators? Are they kind of territorial? I mean, a big old bull like that, or whatever you call them, or they keep everyone's out of there? So
I don't really know. I just know they're everywhere.
I think if you get a
Yes.
big, obnoxious territorial bull, he'll actually eat or partially cripple some of those other gators around them.
Well, I filmed
I know,
a
I got
10-foot one that had a chunk taken out of his cheek
Mm.
by something.
Do you guys got one of these?
I do.
What in the world is it?
It's for my GPS.
Well, what does
Oh.
it do?
A holster.
What's all the fancy stuff around it?
Yeah.
What's the wires and crap on there for?
It's the strings. Put it on your saddle
I
horn.
thought you had some. Yeah, I got something that hangs on my saddle. I thought you had some kind of fancy wired up, extended battery life range something deal. That,
you know what makes it special?
What?
Jeremy made it for me and sent it to me.
Oh, that's cool.
That's a nice
He's
guy.
scared to use it. He said it's too pretty to use. I'm like,
I'll use it. I'll use it.
I'm getting a phone call. I better get it.
Where'd Jared go? Where'd
I tell
Jared
you, he's
go?
he's always getting phone calls. What's so special about him?
He's
There
important.
ain't nothing. I think he tells his wife to call him so it looks like he's special.
His only 2 friends are right here online.
Hey, Chris, did you show him that picture I showed you of him?
No,
Of what?
That Mexican guy with like the 13-foot sombrero riding that little bitty donkey. The first time I saw it, I said, "Well, there's Brett right there." That's how it all got started.
Did you Facebook me that?
Instagram or Facebook, I can't remember.
That sombrero saves me. I'm pigment impaired, man. They burn those little cancers off of me all the time.
Well, that's what did it. I said, that's Brett. I sent it to Chris and Casey, so I said one of them will get it to him.
Listen, you can't be friends with all of us. You're gonna have to get rid of one of us. Just because he has better stories than us.
Who?
Yeah, just because he has better stories than us.
Casey?
Yeah.
Casey's the only one that's taking him lion hunting, though.
I know.
I'm trying to get Casey to come here. He said we got too many bugs and snakes.
You got too many snakes for Casey.
Yeah, I freaked him out up there on the mountain. He said, I'm going to have to start screening my clients.
Rowdy, you been hunting at all?
I messed it up.
No, I just got home from work day before yesterday, and I've been working on a project truck for my brother-in-law, trading a built-up Ford Ranger for and some cash for a F-350 diesel.
Well, you're letting all that get in the way of hunting?
Well, it's still like right now we got a windstorm, 30-something mile an hour, 41 mile an hour gusts, and then it's just been in the 90s and high 90s last few weeks.
Welcome to New Mexico.
That's not a wind.
Yeah. Brett lives. It's windy.
35 mile an hour.
You got a hurricane coming at you.
Now I'm in it right now.
Jeremy?
Yeah. It's supposed to hit about 10 o'clock tonight. So where I'm at.
Little one?
Yeah.
I tell you what, I'm making an announcement tonight on Chris's show. A public announcement.
PSA.
I'm hunting out of this desert. I'm getting out of this stinking thing. I'm going to start going and spending 3 or 4 days in the higher country.
I don't blame you.
I got to. There's no. I drove my buggy. I don't know how many miles on the last couple of weeks, and I can't find all those little arroyos where I usually will cut a line track from time to time. There ain't nothing in here, and it's dry. I put a deal up on a game camera, and I thought, well, I want to see what kind of pictures I get on this. It'd be pretty cool. The video will be coming out, and I thought, well, I'm going to do something funny. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to put a bunch of meat out here. And then I put one of these little electronic distress calls that comes on at night. It's got an eye on it. And I taped it to a tree. And I'm just going to see what comes in here. And I put a teddy bear there just to see how they'd react to the damn teddy bear. There was nothing at all came into that thing. And then I had some other game cameras. All I had come in was one fox. This desert's empty right now. For some reason, there's no game. Usually I can always run a fox. Not that I want to, but at least they trail something.
Brett, come set up a camp over here close to me, and there's lions galore.
Is it really?
Guadalupe's.
Oh, I know. I've been looking at that. Last video I made where I went down there on Alamo Mountain. I went down that Otero Mesa.
Yeah.
That was part of my exploring. I made a video about those petroglyphs over there, and then also that old Butterfield Trail post that's out there, that old stage stop. And but part of it was trying to learn that country, and then I think to access it. What do you think, Benny? This is getting off for Chris's thing, but how about accessing that
rabbit hole?
How about accessing that country from where I was, going straight across there?
You would to get into the better country, you'd have to go up through between the Broke-Offs. You'd go towards the 62-180 highway and go between the Broke-Offs and the Guadalupes, and there's a dirt road that goes up into the Guadalupes from there.
Is there a pretty safe place I can pack my camp up into there and leave my tent and everything, stand in and be safe for a while?
Introduce you to Trent Hughes, and you can just stay there on the ranch. He's got a house.
Yeah.
I like how Benny just invites you to stay someone else's house.
Yeah. Will his wife cook for me?
I can speak for his wife.
Just go to Billy Bob's house. He'll let you in.
Yeah, knock on his door. Benny said.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Benny said your wife was a good cook too.
Hey, look, Jared does have a wife. This whole time I thought he was lying to us.
He actually has one.
Yeah, and she's not even ugly.
Man, I got to look at that. I got to look at that picture a little closer.
Roommate. She pays him to stay there in the other room.
Yeah. I don't know if I can. Oh, hang on. Let me try to. I was trying to get his on there. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I didn't think he had the appearance to have a wife.
He even cooks for me.
She cooked. He's got a bowl of food. Not only does he have a wife, he's got a good wife.
Yeah,
life ain't bad.
Can you say that louder?
And she makes money.
But she's like mine. She's not going to get on the camera.
And we got it on recording too.
Yep. Oh, Brett's got another. See, he's got some kind of system set up because Chris and I are his only two friends, and neither one of us are calling him.
His wife. He has his wife call him like he's important. Hello, Mr. President. Let me step outside. I'm just on a live right now.
I thought about you today, Jared.
Yeah?
Yeah, we were working a theft I checked the cameras, and there were some drug rugs on the rack for sale.
Them are the best $12, $15 sweatshirts a guy can buy.
They're not that down here. They're like 30. Like,
Jared has an online account, an online little sales thing. He gets them all. He finds them out there, and then he washes them and sells them online.
Yep. Hey, I hear something calling. I got to be right back.
That's called the commode.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Nature.
Jared?
Yep.
You've been trying.
Authentic drug rugs are what they're called.
Yep. You've been trying to hunt.
Yeah, we did. We tried something, and I sent you that Snapchat.
Yeah.
Into that nasty country.
We're gonna get a picture of your wife in the background. Hang on. There we go.
Did you get one?
We're gonna get one here in a second. She's gonna walk back by again. I proved everybody.
Come here, boy. Come sit with me.
Now she's not gonna.
No, now she's nervous. Now she went outside with the dogs.
Hey, look at that.
There. This is a mason jar of sweet tea.
That ain't apple juice.
Some of us know what that is.
Pretty sure we all know what that is.
Hey, I that's funny you have that. I looked up today. You know how they say it could cause blindness? You know why, right? Does everybody know why it can cause blindness?
I know.
They used to run it through radiators to cool it, and it would have stuff in it.
No, methanol.
I know back years ago when I was in a bar, sometimes I drank too much. It caused blindness because I didn't know what I was looking at.
Well, Chris, the methanol is in the heads, and you got to pull the heads out.
Yeah, you're supposed to run a little bit out before, but they didn't know that back in the day. They just made it.
This got a little bit of methane, not methanol, but methane alcohol.
Don't drink too much. It'll kick you.
It's almost bedtime. That stuff, you can't breathe it, though. Good gosh.
I gave my father-in-law a little sip. He said, God dang. I said, yeah, it's not Jack Daniels, buddy. So
That came straight off the mountain in Tennessee.
Yeah, and they
straight out of the deep mountains.
They didn't put any water in the jar either.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
That stuff tasted way too good.
It's the only sweet tea I've ever had that gives me a warm spot right here.
All the way down. Just kind of fills your body. So,
do you guys remember that movie Lawless?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When the crippled kid's making his own moonshine? and Shia LaBeouf's like holding it up. He's like, I thought this stuff's supposed to be clear. He's all, I haven't cleaned all the rust out of the lines yet.
That's what Benny has.
That's it. The rusty stuff.
Yep.
Hey, Nick. Hi, gentleman from Utah. Well, what? I guess we could get to our subject.
Let's go.
There's his wife again. There's his wife again. Dang it. I'm not fast enough.
It's true. He does have a wife.
Yeah.
I do.
I like how she jumped right out of the stage there real quick.
Oh, there she is.
And she's gone.
That's your sister you're paying to be here, is it?
Yeah. Well, what makes a houndsman?
Well, you got to be, what's it called?
Stupid.
Dedication.
Stupid.
Yeah. You just gotta,
naive, gullible.
you got to just shut your brain off and laugh at everything that sucks. You know, you clear that one ridge and you're expecting to hear your dog's treat in the bottom, but you don't. You hear him clearing the other side.
That's when it bounces off the walls like a signal. Real quick, I don't know if you guys caught that Monday night, but man, I'm really into that ethnic minority. Did you hear him talking about that ethnic minority? So in England, they're trying to list houndsmen as ethnic minorities. That way, it kind of grandfathers them in to being able to use hounds. I guess they can't use hounds over there for a lot of stuff.
But if you were an ethnic minority, you could make it a cultural thing that you.
Yeah.
Oh, I was raised in New Mexico. I always said a redheaded gringo was a minority. They should.
Yep.
Should have given me special.
That is
privileges. Yeah, you should have went to the same schools I went to.
Oh yeah.
It was rough. I tell you what.
South Arizona, same thing.
Went to junior high in what we called Little Mexico, a little town called Orange Cove in California. I was one of like 5 kids out of, I don't know, I think it was like 750 that weren't Mexican.
I don't ever remember another redheaded boy in school at all. Never.
You didn't go to school at Hatch, did you?
No, I didn't. I was first. I went in Corrales, and then after that, we moved out on the Tahiki Highway, and I went to Estancia, and that's where I graduated from high school. But Corrales, geez, it's like a suburb of Albuquerque. It was terrible.
I worked with a paving crew today, and I was the only one that spoke English. Good thing they understand whistles and hand signals.
No hable español.
Yeah, poquito.
Poquito. Ándele pues, pendejos, usen la pala. Más hondo. Don't dale con ganas.
Baboso.
Just go out there. Don't dale con ganas, pendejos.
I heard craziest. I heard the other day the most craziest cross between languages. There's this African American guy that's a landscaper in Tucson, and he came over to me, and I couldn't understand him. He was somewhere.
He wasn't from Louisiana, was he?
He could have been. He had the thickest Cajun accent, but he was speaking Spanish to me.
Oh wow!
That's one of the Creoles.
And I was like, dude, I don't know what the heck you're saying. You're gonna have to talk to somebody else.
You know, I told people around here that, and they had a hard time believing me, but Jeremy will know that the tamale capital of the world is in Louisiana.
That's
What?
crazy.
Zouali? Where is it?
Wally. That's
Zouali?
well, it's kind of mid-central Louisiana, but it's on the west side, over around Toledo Bend.
That's where tamales kind of came in. Yeah, my ex wife's folks used to live right there on Toledo Bend, and I used to be able. They'd let me come down and visit them every now and then.
It says I can get 10 people on here. I'm trying.
Got 7.
Oh man.
Look at his background.
Are you really?
He's showing off there.
Yeah.
Let me.
I came outside,
Saw a little
so
on
y'all
my
wouldn't see the spikes I put on the wall.
I'm a spike shooter myself.
There you go.
I just shot a spike a month and a half ago.
You know what? This year I decided. I thought I'm going to go let these terrorists I'm going to go try to tree a bear. Sound like something. And I've never shot a bear. I've treed quite a few, but I've never shot one. I thought I'm going to go try to get one of those nice color phase bears and kill him and have him rugged out for the back of my couch. And I mean, before the season even started, the quota filled. You damn guys from Arizona.
Yeah. You know who there you go. He called me, said, "You sons of bitches in Arizona." I said, "Hey, it's payback
all
for
my
you
sows.
sons of bitches in New Mexico."
Well, next year I'm going to Arizona first.
Hey, come on over. I'm going to shut it down as fast as I can.
Do y'all have some good color phase bears there?
Yeah. Actually, we do.
Not like it does,
It was
Brett.
spot and stock in California.
Yeah, I don't go to
If
California. Those people don't like me either.
If you want to see some
Brainwashed
giant,
idiots.
if you want to see some giant bears, go to put in for Nevada.
Really?
One
Yeah,
year,
but it's hard to get drawn
I
there,
killed
ain't it?
3. Yeah, it's a draw.
Whose mic is doing crazy stuff?
Pretty hard to draw. I think they gave out 35 tags to residents
45
last year.
tags. 45.
45.
But not a lot of non-residents put in for it.
Do they have them up there in that jaw bitch?
No.
No, they're all basically
Along the
Reno
California border.
to like, what is it, about Mona Lake, that range right along the
South.
state line?
Yeah, you go by the Sisters and all that down by the Smith Valley.
I don't know any of that country. I've been up in the jaw
Wellington.
bitch before.
But shoot, 1 year bear hunting, we killed a 21 and 9/16, a 20-inch flat, and then a 19 and 15/16.
Yeah.
Bragger. We got a bragger here, guys.
I'm
I've
just
been
saying,
putting my wife and I in for it.
they
and we
are
haven't drawn
giant
in 5
bears.
years.
And then the year after that, my buddy drew a tag, and we let a 20-inch bear walk because we were trying to catch him. This giant bear, his foot was 6.5 inches wide. It was just he had a Sasquatch walking down the road. We never caught him, and he ended up killing a 19-inch bear the last day. But
I don't know how big it was, but we treed one, and Robert Pino shot it, and I forget how he said it just barely missed the record book. And it wasn't a big bodied bear, but it had a great big old cabeza on it. Big old head.
Yeah.
What happens? What happens when you have a big old skull and a little tiny 100-pound body? That bear I just treed had a big head, but he was only 120 pounds.
So this is something stupid. We caught this bear. He was 19-inch skull. And we get there. He's a midget. I'm looking at his feet, and he's got these big old feet and this giant head, but he ain't 5 feet long. And I'm like, what the? I was like, this is the same bear we turned out on. His feet are matching up with his track. Well, the bear jumped the tree almost on top of the road. And his dad couldn't walk too good, ended up dumping the bear. We get there, the bear gets hung up in a tree, and it's all dead over the tree. And I go to push its head off the tree. His whole neck and everything is all maggots and everything else. He had a tracking collar, grew in past his meat.
Oh,
It was choking him out from California.
Dang.
Yeah, that bear wasn't going to make it through the winter.
Mm-mm.
But that was I threw up in the tree. That was as soon as I pushed that neck open, that was the worst smelling thing I have ever had in my life.
Did that bear a favor.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
But he had a 19-inch skull, big old giant melon on him. But
crazy.
man, was he little. 200 pounds.
All right, we got Rowdy from Nevada. I even said it right. Did I say it right? We got
Yeah.
Brett and Benny from New Mexico. We got Robert from Colorado. We got Jared from South Mexico. I mean Tucson, Arizona.
Right.
And we got Jeremy from Louisiana.
Right now, I may be in Arkansas or Mississippi here in about 10 minutes.
I think that's the wind hitting your microphone every once in a while.
Is it?
Is that what it is?
I think that's what it is. So
Maybe.
now, are you
Okay.
really a houndsman? Are you really a houndsman? Let's get to the subject.
Let me ask a question about that. Do you have hounds to pursue, or do you pursue because you have hounds?
Both.
No, say that again, Benny. What now? What?
Do you have hounds to pursue game, or do you pursue game because you have do you have hounds to pursue game, or do you pursue game because you have hounds?
I think I
pursue
started
game because I have hounds. I mean, I always
I think I got hounds.
I like to hunt. I mean, before this, I ran coyotes with sight hounds. I like to use the dogs for what they were bred for.
So
Yeah.
Do you think
I like hunting with
everybody?
Yes,
Do you
exactly.
think everybody gets a hound to pursue, and then by the end of it, now that they got hounds, they are pursuing because they got hounds?
I don't know. I know people that have had hounds for years, but the hound is only a tool. They're after
Like a guide.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what the guy that goes out and buys his dogs made, and he's an outfitter, and he's that's another thing he can guide and make money at.
I call those people deer hunters with dogs.
Yeah, exactly.
No, there's some guys out there that are sure enough hard hunters for what they're doing, but they're not necessarily in it for the dog because of the dog. They're in it to show some dead game.
Yeah.
And so to me, I love the hounds. I don't have hounds today because I was too busy for my hounds, and I didn't sell them. I didn't go off and get $40,000 or $50,000 for my hounds and another $25,000 for my kennels.
Well, what'd you do with that money I gave you?
I used it on my
Moonshine. He bought moonshine with it.
He doesn't want his wife to
Benny's
hear
getting
it.
a phone call. He's got to go.
but no kidding. I gave my dogs and kennels away to someone that I thought would utilize them, and it wasn't because I could have used some money. Sure, who couldn't use that kind of money? But at the same time, I did it because of the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm kind of an extreme on one side. I not only is it for the hounds, but in my mind, I have a hard time hunting any different way than what Henry McIntyre told me a long time ago. And it's putting dogs on the ground and riding, circles in lion country.
Yeah.
And that's it's been the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I mean, a lot of things I've worked real hard at and I got fairly good at, but gosh dang, this is hard.
I can go out.
You guys,
I can set a trap, and I know how to bait for just specifically lions. I can set a snare that's going to be lion specific, and I can kill lions without being there. But
yeah,
it's not the same. And like I said, it's anticlimactic to kill a lion to me because the thrill is in getting there with those dogs.
no,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree with that.
Like,
And then that thrill that you get when you've raised a dog, from a pup, and he gets to that point where he's really trying to trail, and he's trying to help, and he's learning and stuff. I mean, to me, that's what it's all about. I enjoy the heck out of that.
Well, everybody has a story. Mine, I hunted coyotes. I grew up in South Arizona. I mean, we were religiously every weekend out either calling, chasing, spotting, just hunting coyotes. We would put in for deer. We'd put in for elk. So I hunted elk and I hunted deer and I hunted all that stuff we could. When I went bear hunting before hounds, I went to Unit 27. We drove the roads. I glassed. I hunted religiously everything. When I got into hounds, I had a buddy I worked with. who had some hounds. He got me into it. I got into it for a year or two. Then I got out of it. And then I got back into it. Back like in 05, I got back into it. Once I started running my dogs, everything else started to diminish. I mean, I hunt elk in my unit. I don't go out and hunt for 2 weeks. I used to put in for elk, get an area, go there a week early, set up camp, scout, hunt. Now I buy over the counter tags. I mean, my big religious thing is opening season of bear season. We go set up a camp, we go hunt bear, and then I wait till it cools down enough. We go hit lion. And like the south part of, I love desert hunting lion. I am not a snow hunter, and it's not because it's stupid and cheating and stuff. It's just because I don't like the cold and I don't want to be a cheater. No offense, Robert.
It's not cheating. I just do it the easy way.
I understand. Like, I think it's probably easier to hunt lions
Definitely
in the desert, but it's not easier to catch a lion in the desert. It's so much easier to go out on your mule, do a big circle, not get stuck, not have to dig yourself out, not be cold, not,
It's
you know what I
cheaper
mean?
to catch a dirt lion than it is a snow lion.
Oh, sometimes it absolutely is cheaper
I mean,
on your vehicle.
Oh yeah.
Just talk to Rowdy. How many times he's torn his truck apart?
Yeah, I was gonna say, this guy right here. How many Rowdy's come on my live because he was stuck and he had nowhere to go and he had service.
Yep.
That's my story. That's my story. I got into hounds. I was hardcore everything hunter, archery, rifle. It didn't matter. Black powder. Now, I just love running my dogs. And everybody knows you see my videos. I don't post everything I catch, but when I'm down in South Arizona, I've caught a line a few times, and it's not easy, man. Yeah. But I'm more satisfied chasing that line and just getting. I feel like Wile E. Coyote in the Roadrunner. You almost got him, and then something happens.
Dude,
it's
the
that
desert
chase.
hunting lions. The dry ground lion hunting is it's so much like a game of chess. Like, so you'd be trailing this Tom 2-3 times, and then your dogs will make a bad lose, and then you're like, I know he goes to that rock cropping, or I know he crosses that saddle a half mile up.
Yeah.
Let's make a circle into that cropping, or let's make a circle into that saddle, and then all of a sudden the dogs blow up and they take off, and you catch them, and you feel like you helped.
That's what they helped. That's what they said.
That's being a houndsman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said that's what made Orville Fletcher such a good lion hunter, is that he just had a second sense about him, about where the lions were going. And he could just,
good at it.
Oh, I pretend, but I screw up.
Brett, tell that story about Dale Lee and Smith. That is the best story
What's the deal with the
somebody
scratches
who
that
knows.
Steve Smith knows?
Steve Smith was hunting. Dale Lee was there at his house, and Dale went out with Steve, and they hit a lion track. And of course they had to lose or whatever. And Steve said, that lion's going out this way. And Dale told him, said, no. Said, that lion's going to come back over here. And Dale was up in age, and he couldn't go with Steve the next day. So the next day, Steve said, I went over there where I thought that lion was going. He said he never hit that track, never could, get started on him. And he came back and walked in the house, and Dale was there, and Dale said, you didn't catch that lion, did you? And he said, no. He said, he didn't go that way, did he? Steve said, no, he didn't. Dale said, and so Steve he loaded the horse back up and went over there where Dale told him that the lion went, and he caught the lion over there.
Oh,
and he come back and he asked Dale, he said, how did you know that lion was going that direction? He said, Dale looked at him, he said, because I'm a lion hunter and you're not.
Yeah.
That's Dale Lee talking to Steve Smith, and
that's a true story.
You just put your tail between your legs. You put your tail between your legs, and you just kind of
but
remember.
At that point, how many years did Dale Lee have in?
Day after day
60?
after day after day.
Yeah.
That's all. That was his life.
Exactly. That's what he knew.
Yep.
That was his life.
Yep.
And not only that was his profession.
Well, he had something to say. He had something to say about a scratch. You didn't read that scratch right or something, wasn't it too?
I can't remember that, or I don't remember that.
Like direction of the scratches.
Well, I can't remember, but it had something to do with the scratch. I'll have to re-listen to it because I know what you're talking about.
I've had scratches mess me up. I mean, I should have caught. There was a big tom killed a nice mule deer buck, and I had my nephew with me, and we're on this ranch up here. Good country. I mean, really good country. And we found that kill. The dogs went down the canyon, and I told Joey, my nephew, I said, look at those dogs. They're on a kill. They're chewing on that kill. Pretty soon, Lily, that white dog I had, and they start trailing out of there. Wah, wah, wah. I mean, moving it good. I told Joey, I said, we're going to catch this lion. I said, this is good, and they were trailing. Me being me, we went up on top and went across, and I come across a scratch. We're going the wrong way, according to that scratch. So I turned the dogs around. I said, no, we're going the wrong way. We got to go down this ridge this way. And they bawled a little bit down through there, and I couldn't figure out what was going on and this and that. And Joey was a big sports guy. He was on a football team or something, and his mother threatened me with my life if I didn't get him back in time. But what had happened is that lion had scratched going into the kill. But then after he made the kill, he went to bed down. He walked back out over the top of that scratch the other direction. And I had those dogs. I turned them around. They were going trailing back off that way. And looking back on it now, I should have just acted like I didn't have any cell phone service and should have just not even answered my little sister. I should have just took Joey and let him kill that lion. Because I know we could have caught him. He was right up in there somewhere. The dogs were all, they had already trailed and they had already started milling, how they do before they get one jumped. They were just kind of, and I thought, oh man, nothing. We had to call. I listened to my little sister. I didn't want her to be mad at me still.
I think I told this story one time. I called a buddy because I didn't know what I was doing.
Tell it again.
I trailed this lion the day before from about 9 a.m. till dark. Didn't catch him, but the dogs were hitting his scratches cold trailing the whole day. Never got him jumped. I went up and I jumped in front of him by about a half mile, 3/4 of a mile, and the dog started trailing his scratches again. And this is at 7:30 in the morning, and we're going the right way, and we're going up, and 10:30, 11 come. The dogs blow up and they take off into this rock cropping, gone, and they're blowing up in this rock cropping up on the ridge. And I get up there, and I got a scratch going back of everything I just did. And I'm all, shoot. So I get up top, and I call my buddy that lives down here, and he used to hunt with, I can't remember the guy's name. He had the dog named Blackie down out in Nogales. I can't remember the guy's name all of a sudden, but I called him, and I'm like, hey, my dogs are doing this. I had all these scratches going the right way, and then I have one going back when they blew up on the one going back. And he's all, just hang out up there, see what happens. He's like, they'll tell you if they want to leave it, or they'll bring it back down if they have to. And I'm like, okay. And sure as shit, 5 minutes of me sitting up in them rocks after the phone call, they jumped that line and they treed him bait him up on a rock bluff 3/4 mile down the canyon.
I'll be dang.
But if I didn't have made that phone call, I would have screwed up the whole thing.
Well, I spent a long time, several years just screwing up my dogs, really, by messing with them too much. I'd always heard these stories about, you got to help your dogs in this dry ground. You got to help them. You got to move them and do this and that. And that's what I was always trying to do. And then when I hunted with Mike Root up here and we caught that little tom, I wanted to move the dogs. I'm sitting there just saying, that I told Mike, I said, I bet that lion went that way, and because the dogs, they weren't even opening up. They're on the side of the mountain. They were, every now and then one would boo-hoo a little bit here and there, and they were all spread out up there. And he said, no, let's just sit here and wait. And we sat there and we waited and it felt like hours. It probably was about 45 minutes maybe, but it felt like 3 or 4 hours. I wanted to go somewhere. And all of a sudden, bah, they had that lion. They jumped that lion, put him up on a little rock right there. And I just, oh my God, how many times was I that close to the lion? Oh. And move my dogs, because I think it was Steve Smith, Benny, or somebody else said that when those lions, they talk about lions turning off their scent. And a lot of times those lions, right before they get to where they're going to bed down, I don't know if I believe they can turn off their scent, but they change what they're doing and they start sneaking and they'll sneak to wherever they're going to bed down. And it feels just like a lose, and that lion's bedded down right in there somewhere. So
I'm convinced that what they're doing is when they go up on their toes, right, they start sneaking, they get those paws up underneath themselves, those front legs. And I think those glands in the back of their heels right there, the front pads, is what's leaving most of that oil sin on the ground. So as soon as they start sneaking, it's lifted up, and that hair, less of that hair or less of that oil is getting left on the ground.
That makes sense.
Tiptoe.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think, Benny? Benny's over there grinning like a chessy cat.
I'm not thinking.
You guys are stupid.
I have never, ever tried to figure out scent because I know it's way beyond my.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you something about this desert here is what people don't realize, because I know I had some game cameras out and I trailed lions through those game cameras. And on that old rim rock and ridge stuff, you can trail a lot older lion track than you realize. I mean, you trail, I told people this before, I trailed 3-day-old lion track just like, and the dog's moving it, went through one of my game cameras and pulled the card and looked at it, and I thought, I'll be down. And I never caught up to that line. I said, Tom, and he was just walking through the country. He was just traveling, and but we were trailing him, and he didn't, he wasn't sneaking, he wasn't hunting, he wasn't doing anything. He was just walking to somewhere, and of course, I imagine he was just leaving a lot of scent, walking like that, and that was one of my. I enjoyed that day as much as anything because watching those dogs trail that old track and working it. And we trailed it all day long. We started like at 8:00 in the morning. We trailed it until dark that night. And of course,
I feel Tyler Denmark has another assumption because we're out west, but no, Jeremy's from Louisiana. Robert's from Colorado, and do we consider Colorado out west? A lot of snow up there.
Depends on
Depends on the year.
It's west of me.
yeah.
He is west
East
of you.
to me.
Why?
East to me
Why,
by like
Tyler?
12, 15 hours.
Why you
Have
say that?
ever
I think it's
watched a
because of
lion
dry
walk?
ground.
Like in the National Geographics, when he's just walking on a trail, he's stepping and they're hard steps.
Yeah.
And then when he's crouching and he's sneaking, dude, they're not hard steps. He's feeling the ground before he pushes down. Yeah.
Yeah, if you ever watch a house cat, watch the way a house cat moves around. He'll just be moving, and then all of a sudden he'll just start moving like that, real slow and real easy. And another thing I think is sometimes when they're about to top out, say they're going out a canyon, they're going to go through a saddle, whatever. Mm-hmm. And this is just in my mind. This I've never heard nobody else has told me this, but I believe. I mean, it could be a lot of things. Could be the thermals coming up out of the canyon that blow a lot of the scent away. But I think it's just like us. What do you do before, if you're hunting or whatever or anything, before you top out?
You start looking.
And you start walking. You don't want to just top out and just expose yourself to everybody or everything. You just kind of sneak. Or I imagine those lions do the same thing. They're just walking, and then before they top out, they start sneaking just to kind of poke over. And I don't know. That's my own theory now. I could be full of shit.
Like, how many times have you guys come up on a lion kill and the dogs don't do nothing, and it's a night-old kill?
Well, how many times have you seen the lion go somewhere and you think you got it caught and your dogs don't go there and you try to get them to go there, but they're going somewhere else because they got something else?
Well, and Chris, in that situation and the kill deal too, I have seen where there was a fresh track that the dogs didn't acknowledge early in the morning, and late that evening, the dogs acknowledged it.
Okay.
That's where I'm telling you, I will never pretend to understand scent.
Well, come hunt in the water with me, and then you won't.
But we can make up stories, Benny.
Well, yeah, it's our show. We can say whatever we want.
I had a lion off a deer kill last year, and my dogs trailed into that deer kill looking like rock stars. Cold, trailing, pecking, but a good solid track. They hit that deer kill, shut up. Didn't say a word. They trailed all the way into it. I did 3 circles around that deer kill. I started out doing a 100-yard circle, then a 300-yard circle around it. And then my third circle, I came all the way around and I hit his track in the wash, and they couldn't trail it. And then all of a sudden my June dog slammed on the brakes and she sniffed this mesquite branch and then just took off. And they weren't not take off, but then they just started trailing, and 100 yards out of that wash, they blew up, went 2 ridges over and treated an oak tree.
That's strange. Yeah, it's crazy.
But that lion must have hit that stick, because as soon as she walked by that stick, she just hit the brakes. And you know how they smell the stick. They lick it with their nose a little bit, and then just bam.
There they go.
Mm-hmm. But we made that blues was an hour and a half, and I didn't even get a bark, and I just came to a fresh lion kill.
I'll be dang.
To answer Justin's question real quick, I run lions with my cow dogs. Have y'all ever used Catahoula for lions and bears? Just wondering. I have one Catahoula left. I got two. One's a coyote dog at my house, but that second one I do use for lions and bears. I actually kind of bred to see how they do in the desert, and they're fast. Catahoulas are fast.
Who was it? He lives in Tucson. Wade Eckel.
Oh.
I heard he's got I don't know if it's Catahoula, but he's got a cur dog, and he says when that lion jumped, that cur dog's in front of everyone. That's just real.
Oh yeah, that's what Tommy wasn't it. Tommy White, Benny, that had that real good cur dog that outran all his other dogs, and the lion killed the dog.
Yeah,
we talked about that. A fast dog.
You get one that gets there first, and all those lions in the Capitans are very, very spoiled because of the catch and release over and over and over behavior.
Go ahead and don't say any names, Benny.
I didn't.
So
John Smith. That was John Smith.
John Smith did that.
When I first left California, I had a bunch of Catahoulas that were jam up hog dogs. Like they'd take 6-hour-old hog track there in California, which is, I don't know, you guys hear my son, he's sick and he's not feeling good today.
Oh no.
He's crying in the hallway because he doesn't know what he wants.
My kids sound like that all the time. They're not even sick.
Yeah, don't have to be sick.
I just beat them. No.
Just be
Just be a kid.
For a
give
year,
you something to be sick about.
For a year, I tried getting those dogs to trail a lion, and they wouldn't. And I can't say that it was because I had trash broke them, because every once in a while they'd jump a coyote or jump a deer real close, and they'd still trash. But even me taking and putting their nose and pointing to the track, they wouldn't follow a lion track. And I don't know if it's because they couldn't smell it or they just didn't know if they could trail it. But typically when I put them on something, they would trail it,
When I first started, I talked to Mike Leonard. I call Mike Leonard because he was on the Big Game Houndsman. He knows all the old time lion hunters. And I was looking for dogs at that time. And I really liked, like, Daryl Fry and those guys had those cur dogs. Those what are they called? What bloodline are they, Benny? Do you remember?
Kimmers.
Curs. Yeah, Kimmer Curs. And I mean, Daryl, he's a hell of a lion hunter. And those guys, Bill Fry, Daryl Fry, all those guys. And when I talked to Mike, he made a lot of sense. He told me, he said, it depends on where you're at and what you're doing. He said, if you're in an area that has a real good lion population, you got a real hard walking mule or horse, you just want to travel through the country and just run hot tracks, then they're probably pretty good. But he said, if you're hunting tougher country and you don't have a lot of lions and you want to be able to cold trail that lion up, then probably be better off to get some cold nose hounds. And I'm glad I did, because I enjoyed the trailing as much as anything.
Go check on my boy there.
I wonder,
did they ever get cold?
Who's that guy out of Kingman that had them cur dogs from Daryl Fry? Cal.
Oh.
How did he do all right down there with? I know Cal Allen.
Yeah, Allen, he ran curs, didn't he?
Yes, he ran a little bit of everything. What?
He bragged on his curs. He said he ran curs. He had a bunch of curs, and he curs, and he always had at least one hound to trail the damn lion.
From my experience, that's the same here, Benny. That one cur dog I have, he's a hot nosed sucker, and if it ain't hot, he can't smell it.
Well, and then another thing is, not taking anything away from Daryl Fry, but a lot of those government hunters or those paid guys, they're always running off of good kills. They're going into a fairly recent kill or something, and
they have that advantage.
Yes, exactly.
Robert, we'll let the snow hunter talk now.
Yeah, why don't you run curs?
Why in the hell would I run curs?
You got some pretty blue ticks.
I got pretty blue ticks and a couple black and tans were good.
You just made a friend with Benny. He'll forgive your snow hunting now.
Yeah. Hey, we went down to New Mexico and did dry ground. We weren't lucky, but we trailed lions every day for a week.
Where were you at?
We were down there out of Winston.
Yeah, that's good country.
Yeah.
Come here, sweetie.
You'll get a bunch of color-phased bears over there.
Right.
What makes a color-phased bear? Everybody asks me, and I think it's
the region.
I think it's climate.
I think it's region.
Yeah.
I think so too. I think when it gets, I feel like the warmer it is in an area, the more color phase you get.
That's not necessarily. I don't think that's right because all we have.
Goodbye, Jeremy. We're kicking him off right
Kick
now.
him off. He disagreed with the host. You can't disagree with the host.
Jeremy,
All we have is black ones. We don't have any color phase bears, and we're
be
pretty
careful.
hot.
Oh, got the spear.
Yeah, back
I think
east
it's
they
got
don't
something
really
to do
have
with
color
diet.
phasing.
Diet and region. What they
You
eat.
think diet? You think diet has something to do with it?
Mm-hmm.
No, I think it's my favorite word.
Genetics.
Yeah.
We all know what Benny's favorite word is before he even tells us.
I would say that's true too, because like the valley I live in, on the east side, pretty much all the bears you'll find are like a dark chocolate, almost black, but just dark chocolate. And you go to the other side and it's cinnamon and blonde. So
I'd love to have there was up there above my camp, there was a big old blonde bear for a while. And I always wanted to try to get on him. I had him on some cameras, but I never could get on him.
That's the color phase I'm after next is blonde. I got 4 dark chocolates and 1 cinnamon.
See, we used to be able to run those cameras. I don't even know if I should say this. It was legal then. They didn't have cell phone cameras.
Right.
We had what they call a Buckeye cam, and you could daisy chain them, and they would talk to each other. Then I had a base there at my trailer, and those cameras, like you put them on each ridge, and as long as they're line of sight with the other camera, when this one got a picture, it'd send it to this one, then it'd send it to this one, and then that was the one above my camp, and it would send it down to my base station in my camp.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know cameras would do that.
Yeah, Buckeye cams, they cost like $700 a piece, but I was having hell. So I wanted any kind of advantage I could get. But they were legal. They didn't have cell phone cameras back then. They weren't illegal.
Those cameras, man,
the statute of limitations too.
Those
I think
cameras
I'm
are
going to go
freaking
out.
amazing.
I think I'm going to go out South Arizona right here because they got spotters on every hill. Now, if I just give them $100 every time they see a lion, they can daisy chain that over and get a signal to me. I'll know where that lion is.
Yeah.
That's for the drug runner. A spotter is someone they got for the drug runners, for you people that don't know what illegal aliens are and what a spotter is.
Trust me, I'm well aware what they are. I
Just
just don't see them carrying the drugs. They're taking them up here.
I quit trusting anyone who says they've seen a lion. They make everything into a lion.
I've had mile markers given to me, exact tag, location, GPS coordinate. I go over there, walk that road that it crossed, and I find nothing but coyotes.
You know how many pictures I get of dog tracks?
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
Look at the size of this lion track.
You know how many miles I've drove for a dog track?
Yep.
Diana said I was trashy and she was going to put a shot collar on me. So I understand.
Well, there's different kinds of trashy when it comes to people, though.
Well, I was stopping them for every deer track, everything else.
That's
the
like
old cow track.
When I was with Orville Fletcher, and we were driving around on the Ladder Ranch there, and he had permission to hunt on the Ladder Ranch, and he said, "Jump out here, jump over there, and go look and see if that's a lion track down there." Man, I jumped out and I looked at it, and I looked at it, and I got down on my hands and knees, and I looked at it, and I looked at it. Finally, he stuck his head out the window. Either it is or it isn't. Man, I was trying to make it into a lion track.
Trevin must be a new guy here.
Yeah, I don't recognize the name.
He's asking a lot of questions.
Welcome, Trevin.
So I think the thermal, it could affect it a lot, right? Depends on whether it's going uphill or downhill. So if it's going uphill, it's going to pull any of that scent that comes off the body of that lion and spread it up to the uphill. If it's going downhill, your thermals at night, it's going to take that scent and put it downhill.
Well, especially with a bear. Holy moly.
You know, I've trailed lions in pretty high winds too.
Yeah.
So
and he says, is that why you can smell them better
bear more than anything?
Well,
Depends on,
it starts to cool off and that humidity starts to rise.
It depends on how you're hunting a canyon too. On the desert, I used to hunt up on top of the rim rock, up on top of the canyon in the morning as that sun came up, because those thermals would carry that scent up in it. And so in the evening, as things start cooling down, if you get in the bottom of the canyon, even if there's a lion up on top, and you know, this is all perfect conditions as well too. But if there's a lion on top of that rock, that scent ought to drift down in there as the thermals are drawing back down into the bottom of the canyon.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's why I don't
See,
catch
I
nothing.
always pictured lion scent different. I always like to associate it with like colors. Like they say, you know, like a dog and everything lives in a world of scent. Like we live in a world of colors, and you can see a light color, dark color, all different shades. You know, and I always tried to think of lion scent as like a real dark color, but there's not much of it. It's just a little speck of it. Where bear scent is more like a pastel color that just there's a whole bunch of it, and it's just everywhere. And it's not like that lion scent that's just, or at least on a cold track. You know what I mean? Because they have to work so hard to find that one little spot. And you know, I don't know. That's just in my mind.
Talking about a fresher track than what you're talking about, or if you catch a lion that's bedded somewhere like that too. You know,
where they wind them.
You know, I think anybody that's been around the sand knows that dry sand is one. It's all but impossible to trail in.
Yeah.
You get an hour in that dry sand behind the lion and you're done. And I was down there on the White Sands military range with Rob Cox, you know, JR's old hunting partner.
Mm-hmm.
And so he asked me, he said, how old a track can that dog smell? And I said, you know, I don't know. I can't tell you that. I have no idea. He said, well, 3 days ago, my son was leaving the ranch and he came through this gate and goes through the military base and goes around the mountain to go over to Santa Teresa. And his 15-year-old son was with him and he's always giving each other trouble. His son said, hey, there's a lion right there running beside us.
Who's squeaking?
I don't know. Is it me?
I don't hear it.
There's a lion.
No, I got the dog.
He just ducked into that culvert. And that culvert only had about, I don't know, a foot of clearance in it. It was all sanded in. And so the dad says, I'm sick of you pulling my chain and carrying on. So we're going to turn around and I want you to go back there and you prove to me that lion's in that culvert. So his son gets out and he looks down in there and he throws a rock, and shooting out the other end was a mountain lion came out of that culvert.
I'll be dang.
And he told me that story. He said, can your dog smell that? I said, I have no idea. So I got Derek out and put him over there and hissed him and said, here he goes, and put my finger down there. And he started wagging his tail when he got inside the culvert where it was shaded and cool. And this was in the wintertime. And he got in that culvert about 2 feet. And then he started bawling and carrying on. And it was hell for me to make him come out of that culvert. And he could see the lion in there. So, you know, scent is just a weird deal that there's so many variances and so many things that affect it that we'll never figure it out.
It's absolutely right.
If we had a nose, we wouldn't eat a dog, would we?
Right.
Okay, it's over with.
Give
him the last word.
I didn't even know what rabbit hole we went down for this one. So
we're just talking about being a houndsman.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest arguments there is scent.
Yeah.
There was a guy back a couple questions ago asked what kind of dogs everybody runs.
Whatever trees.
Yeah.
Whatever trails. I mean, I there's all colors. I prefer a lighter colored dog. I got 3 litter mates out there. I call the terrorists, and I got a half brother to them also, and I got one that's a black saddleback, and he overheats real easy. I mean,
everybody had, like, when I got into it and I wanted to get hounds, I wanted blue ticks. That's what I wanted, you know. And now I got red, brown, white. Whatever I got that has a nose. You know, I got a red bone that's goofy, has some ugly feet. But his feet, he can go 100 miles and the next day go another 100 miles. So everybody has their characteristics. Oh, they need tight feet. Oh, they need their nose.
They go tight.
I used to watch their
dogs.
Yeah, I used to watch their nose. If it had a big old bow on the top, I noticed that those dogs could really rig or smell better. I don't know why, just something that I paid attention to.
I got one of those too, but that's from those Mexicans I went to school with.
So, I mean, everybody has their preference start out. Like, what was your guys' preference when you started out? Like, I'm going to get me some red. You know, everybody watches where the red fur grows, you know, but even then, I wasn't, I don't like red bones, man. I don't like black and tan. Sorry, Jared. I don't like, you know what I mean?
I
have
don't
my
have a lot of black and tans. I just got 3 of them.
Not everyone.
I'm not picky.
Black and tans.
Huh?
Everyone can hunt with black and tans. Some just don't like to catch game as good.
I had good advice. I mean, you know, guys like Benny and even David Heiss and these guys, you know, they're all dog men, and I listened to them, and I didn't care what color, you know, because I'd listened so long that they, you know, you got to have dog. You're going to be hunting in the dirt. You got to have this kind of dog. You got to get them from people who hunt the same way you do, or the same way you want to, and everything. So when I got them, they were all different colors. I mean, but they all had long ears and big old noses on them.
It's like plots. Some of them guys use those plots for lion hunting in the desert, and I don't feel like that's a good dog for the desert.
Well, didn't Johannes Plot get? I just read this, or was on the Bear Grease. I listened to it this summer. Didn't one of the guy that started the plots weren't they all cur dogs to begin with? They weren't actually hounds.
That's what they called them. They called them cur dogs.
Yeah,
they call them a plot cur, not a plot hound.
No, yeah.
That being said, Chris, Orville Fletcher told me now, and Orville might have been, I don't know. I didn't think he would lie to me, but he told me the best lion hound he ever had was a plot.
I've heard that from a couple of people.
And he said that dog would ranged out quite a ways and find his own track. And when he started balling on that track, he would try to get the other dogs to come to him. And that's what Orville told me. Now I don't know.
Like, I think you could take a litter of black and tans, and you could take a litter of blue ticks, and you could take a litter of walkers, and you could take a litter of red bone. You could take a litter of every color. And I think you could find a dog in each one of those that's going to run where you are, how you want, sooner or later.
Well, Brett hit it on hit the nail on the head or whatever, hit the head on the nail. Find someone that hunts like you do.
Yeah.
That's 90% of it. Like, I'm not going to go buy a dog from Wyoming, Idaho, or Montana and then bring him down here and expect him to be a smoke show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to buy someone that hunts like I do on foot or on mule or whatever. And the dog's used to 90 degrees.
Free casting in tough conditions. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I first got my black and tans, the part that impressed me was I bought the dog, drove back up to Nevada, and it was hot. It was about 80 degrees. And my buddy, we trailed this female, and she spanked us. She started running on us in the bluffs and the rocks in the sheep country. And it looked like, you know how those robbers slap the fat cop when they run by them? That's what that lion was doing to my dogs. I mean, she just was running circles, and we just couldn't catch her. And we're sitting there shading up, and my buddy pointed at that black and tan, and he's all, he ain't panting. And all my walker dogs, and I had a little blue tick cross and English cross walkers, they were sucking wind and hot. But that black and tan I bought down from here was fine.
He was fine.
Yep.
Well, I've got some running walkers from Cody. Now I got that Jack dog, and he's half blue tick, and that blue tick came from someone in Colorado, and then it's half out of his best dog. And he's just as cold as any. I mean, he's not broke. He's not. But he's not that trashy either. I mean, he's a cat dog. But I mean, I think he's a $10,000 lion hound right now. I mean, he moves a track as good as anything, and can and moves it fast. And now I got another an eighth that came from Cody, an eighth run a walker.
Take hell.
And he hasn't really showed me a whole lot yet. He's not bad, but you know what? But I haven't done these dogs justice in the last 3 years. I mean, I haven't got them in the good area, and I had some health problems and stuff. So
my best dog right now, he's a 8th trig, maybe it's a quarter, but I think he's an 8th trig, and then either 3/4, 7/8 walker, and he can handle the heat really good. I got the rest of them are out of Andy Jensen's twist dog, half that, and then there'd be, I guess, a 16th trig from their mother side, and they can handle the heat, but not all that good. But the two that I got from that one from Jerry Smith and the one from Jeff Allen, they can handle the heat well. But of all of them, the best cold trailing dog I got is that one that came out of California, and he's the that 3/4, 7/8 walker and an 1/8 trig, and he'll take a 13-hour-old track out here that I know of because I'd gotten him on camera, and I was able to look at that camera and say, oh yeah, we came through at 9 o'clock last night, and here we are at 10 o'clock today, and the dogs took the track.
What the trig? What was that? Something on purpose or something that just happened, or?
So there's a couple guys there in California that were breeding bear dogs, and that was they wanted something that would drive a track harder with the walker than just straight walker. So they started breeding that running dog into them to get him a little bit more speed, and he's got that speed. I'd like to record it, just show on Garmin how far that dog ranges out. He's that dog that I got. He used to range out 3/4 mile to a mile as soon as I put him on the ground, just always looking for a track. And now he's 5 going on 6. He's kind of reined it in. He'll be about 1/4 mile out, but he's at a lope everywhere he goes. He hits a trail, and he'll just run it up and down every trail, 1/4 mile each direction, come back, and then split off again or go back and finish that loop that he's making. But he's got some wheels on him. The rest of the dogs, they aren't as rangy, but they're all, as far as, the walkers, they've got their nose on the ground the entire time. And I got no complaints with them. They're just heavier built dogs. And so getting them into the sun, on a hot day, I try to keep it under 85. I don't, I'm not guiding, so I don't have to push them as hard.
I don't think anyone guides in 90 degrees for a line hunt unless it's a kill.
Hey, Robert, those big blue ticks you got, how are they on? You're in cold weather. You're at 10,000 feet. So I don't think those big blue ticks you have would do too good in the desert. Do you?
No, they did fine when we were down in Winston. The guy I run with, he's got plots, walkers. He's got a bit of everything. They stayed up with them just fine. They didn't back down. So.
Well, what were the highs in Winston while you were there?
Yeah, I think we got up to maybe 68, 69, somewhere right in there.
Shoot,
that's not. But we're going from like where I live right here. That time of year, we're still our high maybe 40.
Okay.
So what we got to worry about up here is the lows. Like usually it gets below 0. We try not to run. The lowest I've turned loose in though was -17.
Cool.
I stopped.
What are those dogs
up, won't it?
When it's that cold?
Yeah.
The thing I had them do that day when I dumped the box, they hit the snow, took about 3 steps and laid over, put their paws in the air.
Oh.
But then they got up and ran the track. They didn't seem to affect them much, but after that day, I figured I wouldn't turn them loose unless it was at least 0.
Those dogs you have, they look like they should be able to trail like a month-old track. They're houndy looking dogs.
They got enough ears they can push that scent to their nose.
Yeah, they got that funnel. The ears fall down on the ground.
They got the ears that drag the ground and collect the scent, so they know how.
I sure like the look of those heavy, long-eared blue ticks. They're good-looking dogs.
That's what he has, and they're beautiful. I liked them.
The oldest track I've turned loose on, I knew of just because we didn't have a track and was going to train, was 3 days, and we videoed the hounds taking that track, going right through a herd of bighorn sheep, and they went up that ridge. It took them about 6 hours, but they got that lion caught.
Oh, wow.
I think in life, when your dogs, I have that same story. My dog wasn't a rig dog. I ran with Elizabeth Bolin, Washoe. My dog started rigging. She put hers down, figure out it's what it is. By myself, my dirty dog rigged, went down. I see a little tiny track, 3 weeks old. It's old. I'm like, what is this? You're something else. I thought he's trashing. Then I find a big track. Let him go. Let a couple other dogs go down. They go up a few hundred yards, hit the road. They're running up the road like idiots. I stop. I walk up. I'm looking for tracks. Like, what are you running? I get up there, and it's elk tracks all the way up the road. I don't have my shocker, and I got a Tritronics at that time. I walk back to get my shocker. I'm you guys ain't running elk. And I'm looking at tracks right in the middle of those elk, that big bear track. And we ended up treeing that bear,
Nice.
and that's just a learning, like Mike Roots, let them go,
Oh, Mike
let them
don't
go.
care. He lets them go, and that
They're hunting.
he
and
had a
honestly,
dog that was off balling, running the other direction, and we were riding up through there, and I was sitting there. I said, Mike, what do you think about that dog back there? He's probably running a coyote. He said he'll be back after a while.
so do you guys think when you let that dog do that and everybody leaves him, it's kind of like that herd mentality and then he's all, well, no one's coming with me, and he goes back and they get on that lion track. He says, oh shit, I'm stupid. And then he kind of he thinks to himself, he teaches himself not to trash.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I believe that, they'll run coyotes and they'll run deer. They're never going to catch it. And then you get them on some lions. Then they figure out, we can catch this.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of break their self.
Brett,
it's all about getting them on the right
Steve
game.
Smith?
What's that?
Who did you interview with Steve Smith? Was that Jim Bueller?
Jim Bueller.
Yep.
Didn't he say the more you trash break the dog, the more hunt you take out of him too?
I think after all the mistakes I've made, I would probably agree with that. I mean, I know of course you hear, you don't, when you first start, you hear all these stories. I wouldn't let that, I hunted with a guy. So I wouldn't let that dog do that. I wouldn't let that dog do that. And you kind of take it to heart. And then every time your dog, you think one's screwing up, or we're running a fox, especially and stuff.
Yeah.
You get to, punishing them for it. And you take a lot of that hunt out of them. I think I believe that.
I had a kid text me a picture of 2 dogs and a dead coyote. And I said, well, you got you some coyote dogs. He goes, I don't want them to run coyotes. And I said, why are they standing there next to that coyote then?
Because I shot it.
That's where you take that hunt out of them is when, and he goes, I just want to hunt bear and lion. I said, you letting them kill that coyote. It's kind of it'd be a hard time.
Defeat the purpose.
You might,
Hell, if I had dogs that catch coyotes, I'd be hunting coyotes tomorrow.
That's what I said. Go hunt coyotes.
When I first started,
and kill them. 2 dogs.
Yeah. When I first started, I got a dog from Biggerstaff. That was the hardest dog I had to break, coyotes. You could turn him loose on a lion track, and if a coyote crossed, he was running it. He didn't care what the pack did.
Now that's bad.
But once I got him broke to that, he was a sheared lion dog. But
man,
it took me about a week and a half of dousing him with coyote piss and smacking him on the nose with a stick with coyote piss on it. But it broke him.
My favorite way to train that is if I see a coyote and I'm out bear hunting or lion hunting, I shoot that coyote if I can. And then I have someone go ahead of me and I drag it across the road and I hang it in a tree. And I put my dog down and I let them go. And once they get to that tree, I let them know. Plain and simple.
We ain't playing this game.
Yep.
Yeah.
The hardest problem I've ever had are them freaking monkeys.
Oh, Cuda Mondays.
Oh man. I mean, they'll help a pup look up, that's for sure. But son of a gun,
Brett chases those for fun.
I've treed a few of those. I'd say the same story every time. When you go to a tree right at dark and you look up in that tree and you see that tail, you think it might be a small lion.
Especially get them big old boars.
That male dog I had Solo, he knew he wasn't supposed to run them. I mean, he knew he wasn't. And they treed one evening, and I hiked all the way up that canyon. I got there, and the young dogs were all treeing. And Solo was out, like making like big 200-yard circles around the tree, still barking, but wouldn't come to the tree because he knew he would be in trouble. He was nasty. You'd leave out there in the morning and leave, and he'd be a broke good sucker. I mean, you'd be going out and then you'd come back that evening, at dark, you're tired, been riding mule all day. And I'd say, God dang, what is that? And I could hear him way up a canyon. He would go find something to run. I mean, he would just, he was something else. But he sired lots of good pups that people have. Ty Hare and Bency and all those guys got dogs out of him.
Jeremy in Louisiana, what are your dogs trashing?
Deer,
hogs, bears, possums.
They ever trash on an alligator?
No, I've had some close calls with alligators.
You never
One not too long ago.
You never found the dog that did trash on that alligator.
Right? They don't
Just lost
trash
it.
after that one time.
Nope. Normally, you lose a good dog and a good collar, or a bad dog and a good collar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I say. Oh, biggest mistakes I ever made was putting a $300 collar on a $10 dog.
Yep.
It's hard to trust your dog sometimes, though.
It is. I'm
have to
learning
be
it more now
patient.
that my dogs are getting better. So trusting them.
How far
And
do you
I
let
think-
your dog range out, Rowdy?
It depends. If I'm heading up a canyon, I'll let them go all the way up to the head of it, but I still walk up there.
Okay.
I don't just let them go and not follow because
Yeah.
Garmin's
Will you
are
let
only
them
so
go a
good.
half mile or so in front of you?
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
I don't.
No.
No,
No,
mine don't.
he
Mine won't
started
hardly
many
range
tracks
out
like
that
that.
far. Mine won't hardly range out that far. Jack,
Is
that
it 'cause-
half run and walker goes further than most, but
You think it's because you're on a mule? And because when I'm on my mule, my dogs stay within a couple hundred yards. Like if they get out there 400 or 500, I just kind of watch them and see what they're doing. But most of the time, they'll come back to me or catch up to me or wait for me. In my truck, those bear hunting, it's a different story, and they know it.
Yeah.
When I let them off that rig, they don't give a shit. They will go 350 miles looking for a bear.
I don't.
I
what?
keep mine 200 or in.
Yeah.
Just because
You walk
if they're-
everywhere, Jared.
I know, but if they're trailing something, I want to know we're going the right way, and I don't want to hike 3 hours to get there to find out we're going the wrong way.
Yes, there you go. That
Yeah.
I heard a story about, and Benny probably knows this better than anybody, between like Rick Dickerson and Terrell Shelley were hunting together with a friend of mine. And they said that, they went out there and Terrell's dogs, they say that Terrell's probably the best dog he has. I mean, he's a hell of a lion hunter, and he keeps all his dogs pretty tight to him, and doesn't let them range out far. And they said, Rick, there was, all Terrell's dogs going right along with Terrell, and then Rick's dogs, they fan out and go everywhere. Is that true, Benny? I mean, they're pretty wild.
Yes. And it used to make Terrell crazy when they'd hunt together, and Terrell would get on Rick and say, "Hey, what do you get that dog doing this and that?" And Rick just laughed and he says, "Hell, Terrell, why don't you tell him? Those dogs won't listen to you. I don't ever tell them nothing. They don't listen to me. I just kind of go with them."
Yeah, that's kind of what I do. Is I'll just pick a direction, and then whatever the direction the dogs go, I follow them. Especially if they cut a track, of course. But my buck dog, he's always hunting. Like there isn't a time that his nose isn't checking something.
Yeah.
So he's a good strike dog, and I trust him if he strikes it. So far,
He's broke,
I wouldn't call him broke because he'll still trash on a deer or a sheep every now and again. But he's doing much better than he used to now that he's going on 6. But he'll cut a track on a cow trail on the side of the canyon wall where I'm not walking. If I'm walking to the bottom, he'll get up on the side of the canyon wall about a quarter of the way up and check those cow trails, and he'll cross back over and go check another cow trail. He'll go running up a canyon or side draw, check it, come back down. I've got, I'd say, 2 strike dogs, and one is that female I got from Jeff Allen, and the other one is Buck, my 5-year-old. And they, so far, knock on wood, they straighten out most all the tracks. They've only ran a couple backwards, but usually I'll get there and try to find a track and get them lined out. But so far they've been doing good on lining them out and going the right way.
And you're just
always been
hunting
my
lion,
biggest.
right?
Yeah, every once in a while I'll run a bobcat, but usually it's a bobcat track that I see if it's in the snow.
And we should say about Rick, Steve Smith says he's killed more lions than anybody in the world with a flashlight. And he's probably caught as many lions as anybody alive, hasn't he, Benny?
I think he was averaging 40 or 50 a year there for a while.
Oh,
That's the
And
guy who let his dogs go wild.
Yes.
Man,
But-
I believe it.
He was hunting at night because he was down on the Rio Grande in Texas and hunting in the sheep country in the summer, and he had to produce dead lions coming across from Mexico. And so it was too hot. He hunted with a flashlight. Hey, don't you have an appointment this weekend, Brett?
Yes, I sure do.
Perfect.
I'm going to see Steve Smith and all those guys, Terrell Shelley, Rick Dickerson, all those
awesome.
guys.
Oh, so you mentioned Terrell Shelley. Has anybody talked to? Oh my gosh, now I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Are you talking
We'll
about?
just wait on you. We'll just wait on you. Go ahead.
The line hunter there that rides the mules right there in I think it's Arizona, maybe he's in Mexico, but the big tall man,
Warner
Warren
Glenn?
Glenn.
Warner Glenn. God dang it! So
how can you
Man.
forget?
because
you know what? That's party
Warner
foul right
Glenn.
there.
Yeah.
So is
Goodbye.
Kick him off. Kick him off.
Goodbye, Rowdy.
Lost your privileges. What about him? Go ahead. Sorry.
You have an
See if
interview.
he'll go with you guys to that sheep banquet just to talk about, just go and have dinner on that banquet.
Isn't he 87?
Warner Glenn will be there where I'm going to this couple days. So,
I was
but
just talking
I
about
can't.
that thing with Chris, the sheep banquet buying tables and just going
That'd be
and having
cool.
a good time. Invite him to go
That
with you
would
because
be- that
he's just
would
an
be
icon.
Yeah, oh man.
Yep. Letting
Legend.
them know that the ethnic minorities are in town. Right.
I like it.
I'm gonna get a shirt made.
Guys, I'm gonna have to bail.
Yeah, I've got.
What happened? I'm just gonna pop in.
I really enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
You guys have a good evening. I've got to call Brett, and I don't want to do it on the air.
Okay.
We don't want to hear none of that sexy talk.
No. Hey, Brett, have a good time, and Kelly will be there as well too.
Will Kelly be there? Cool.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
Can't wait to see it.
Well, yeah, it should be a good one. I'm excited. They've been having this deal for years and years and years, and I always heard stories about it, and I think because I made arrangements to interview Jim Bueller, and got that done, and they enjoyed that, so they went ahead and invited me to go talk to. And the main reason I'm going is get to talk to Rick Dickerson, and that's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. First lion I ever caught was with one of his dogs. I was with a guy. I had a couple dogs, but they were worthless. And I went with a friend of mine that had a dog from Rick. And I've told that story a bunch of times. It just changed my life. I mean, I was up there on the side of that mountain. They went down to go get the tracker, and I was a lot younger then. And I was up on the side of that mountain with that dog, watching that dog trail that lion. I thought, my God, this is the funnest thing I've ever done in my life. Big old Tom lion tracking that dog. Whoa, whoa, going down through there. Jeez, it was fun.
It's addicting quick.
Oh,
Oh
bad.
man, that's an understatement.
Mm-hmm. And then when you get to go into your first tree, you're done.
Oh
Done.
gosh, man, I was shaking like a leaf. I was all by myself, hunting in about 18 inches of snow. Truck was stuck when I parked it, and yeah,
Big
first
surprise.
one was about a 75-pound female. That she was just, I couldn't even explain it.
It's like a 12-year-old boy looking at boobies. You
And-
love
and
them
then-
the rest of your life.
First real
When you-
set I ever saw.
And when you talk about who's a houndsman, who's not a houndsman or whatever, that feeling, that is what a houndsman is. I mean, that feeling that you get, it's just
It's amazing.
It's a 2-day hot.
such a, cryptic animal that you just never see. I mean, they're out there, you just never see them. And then all of a sudden, you got a 100-pound cat in a tree. It's just like, my gosh.
You take any person, like last year, I took a deer hunter in. You take any person into a tree, and you'll see them smile and look up and smile, and they'll always remember that. Even if they never want to hunt with dogs or they never thought about it, you take them into a tree like that, and it's just a joyous moment for anybody. Any normal.
It's an amazing feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And then really, shooting the lion then is kind of anticlimactic, really.
You always got to kill one lion or bear that your dogs get. But I killed the first bear 2010 with my dogs, and I just haven't cared to shoot another one. It's going to have to be a big one,
Isn't that the one that you wanted Brett's wife to eat?
Yeah.
I think I heard from witnesses she did eat one of them tacos.
Did she?
I
My wife
heard
said
she
she did.
Guys,
She told me that meat was from 2010. Did you see that?
I'm going to bed.
I ate
Benny
like
gotta
8
go
of
to
them,
bed
I
and
think.
go to work.
I did
See you
too.
later, Benny.
All
Good
right,
seeing you.
Benny, thanks for jumping on.
Benny, thanks. We'll see you. Give me a call. That top secret information.
Right. Wait, where's the thumbs up?
Yeah, where's our fireworks, Benny?
Oh, hell. I think
Get
it's not
centered.
Can't get it to work.
No.
It's the government.
Oh,
There
no.
it is. Dang. Does mine do it?
Yeah, there you go.
It just didn't
You
work.
got evening.
All right, Benny.
Bye,
See you,
Benny.
Benny.
Guys, I'm going to take off too. Thank you. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Brett.
thanks,
All right, Brett.
thanks for just popping in for 2 hours, Brett.
You're welcome. I know. My wife sent me a message. Said, I'm going to go ahead and eat. So I better go. All right, guys.
All
We'll
right,
see you
thanks,
later.
Brett.
Bye.
ya.
You bet. Thank you.
Now we got rid of them old timers.
Right.
We have a real conversation.